जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विश्वपाद परमहंस भगवद्गीताय सुजर सरस्वती श्रीमद् इष्टवांगे ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय गौर प्रेमानंद All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 10, text 9. Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi stitan tarhi eva pundarika aksha bhagavatvaya kalpate vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi stitan tarhiva pundarikaksha bhagavatvaya kalpate. Translation. I hope my voice will work. We have a... I remember once I was supposed to give a class in a public program in Russia. About 600, 700 people came. And I just wanted to start speaking and nothing came out. I thought, Krishna, what to do? I tried again, nothing came out. Then I had to write on a piece of paper. Could someone else give the class? It was quite embarrassing. Translation. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Atheistic men sometimes criticize a devotee by saying, if you do not want to take any benediction from the Lord, and if the servant of the Lord is as opulent as the Lord himself, why do you ask for the benediction of being engaged as the Lord's servant? Sridhar Swami comments, Bhagavadvaya Bhagavad Saman Aishvaryaya. Bhagavatva, becoming as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not mean becoming one with Him or equal to Him. Although in the spiritual world, the servant is equally as opulent as the master. The servant of the Lord is engaged in the service of the Lord as a servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover, all of whom are equally as opulent as the Lord. This is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. The master and servant are different, yet equal in opulence. This is the meaning of a simultaneous difference from the Supreme Lord and oneness with Him. Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi stitan tarhiyeva pundarikaksha bhagavatvaya kalpate. Translation once more. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshudumlitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagada Mahyam Tadati Sva Padantikam. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In another comment to this verse, it has been mentioned that the Mayavadis, they think in order to attain impersonal liberation, Sayujya Mukti, that the mind has to be freed from what we know as Sthayi Bhavas. Sthayi Bhava means the 12 different devotional moods, which include Dasya Rasa. However, Prahlad Maharaj, he prays to the Lord that I do not desire to merge with you. My Lord, I'm your eternal servant, and that is my liberated existence. I only desire to be your servant in order to please you. So a devotee, he is not at all interested in any kind of impersonal liberation, merging with the existence of the Lord. But for him, such a type of liberation would be a hellish condition. For a devotee not to be able to render devotional service to the Lord, it is just like a hellish condition. And sometimes we also have experience that when we are being, sometimes it might happen, rendered unable to render some service, we feel miserable. When we cannot chant our rounds properly, for whatever reason it might be, the devotee feels very, very uncomfortable. Or there's so many other practical services we can perform for Krishna, for his pleasure. And if we are unable to do so, the devotee feels miserable. He doesn't feel happy. That's the actual liberation for a devotee, to be always engaged in Krishna service. It's also explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd canto. The Mukti Hidvanyata Rupam Svarupena Vyavasiti. In that particular verse, the merging into the existence of the Lord, or merging with the Lord, it is described as at the time of annihilation of the entire universe, then all the living entities, they merge into the transcendental body of Mahavishnu, along with all their previous karmic reactions. And then at the time of the manifestation of the universe, then again the living entities come out, and according to their karma, they occupy certain positions in the universe, in different universes, in various species of life. But that's the description of merging in this particular verse. And the liberation is described as the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up his changeable, subtle and gross body. So there it is clearly described, Svarupena Vyavastiti. The Rupa refers to a form. That form, it is eternal, the living entity. The spiritual form simply means that particular service the living entity, liberated living entity, renders to Krishna. That's the manifestation, spiritual manifestation of a spiritual form. Like sometimes devotees are very interested in what will my spiritual form be? Will I be hopefully a gopi? That's the general desire. And definitely not a blade of grass. But the point is, our spiritual form is service to Krishna. bhakti, rendering service to Krishna. That is our spiritual form. It doesn't matter what form, that is up to Krishna. But that's the true meaning of liberation. To be always absorbed in Krishna's service. That is our spiritual form. Bhagavad-vaya does not mean, as Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, to merge with him, but to be equally as opulent as the Lord. That's the actual meaning. But unfortunately the impersonalists, they mistranslate this particular word. It does not mean to merge. It means to possess the same opulences as the Lord, which is natural. Just like a king living in a palace, he has a servant. So the servant, he doesn't possess anything, but still he has the same opportunities, the same, same facilities as the king. He's living in the same palace. And so many other things, he can take advantage of that opulent palace. So that's the meaning. And the devotee, Bhagavad-vaya, means he enjoys the same opulences as the Lord, but not like the Lord. He is the supreme enjoyer. And the service or duty of the servant is to give enjoyment to the Lord. That is his enjoyment. And when Krishna is pleased, then the devotee is pleased. Krishna is happy, then the devotee is happy. There's no separate happiness for the devotee. It is also explained in the 6th chapter of the 7th canto. Nothing is unobtainable for devotees who have satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes, the original source of everything. Full confirmation in this verse. And in Bilva Mangala Thakur, he also prays Mukti Swayam Mukuli Tanjali Sevate Asman. For a devotee, liberation, it is standing at the threshold of liberation, waiting for the devotee. Liberation, it is not of interest for the devotee. It is a byproduct of surrendering to Krishna, rendering service to Krishna, liberation. But surely a devotee who is fully surrendered to Krishna, he becomes liberated. So he prays like Bilva Mangala Thakur, ready to carry out, liberation is ready to carry out the orders of such a fully surrendered devotee. Because the devotee is already in a transcendental position. He does not need further qualifications for liberation. Sagunan samatitaitan brahma boyaya kalpate. And that is clearly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. When the devotee is constantly engaged in devotional service, then automatically he is not influenced any longer by the three modes of material nature. He is in a liberated state. Prahlad Maharaj also further prays, Agunena Chakam Shitena. If one is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the lotus feet of the Lord, he does not need anything in terms of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Again, devotee is not interested in any of these things. Only interest is bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, generally, bhakti is being translated as a devotion or a surrender. But Srila Prabhupada translated devotional as service. It implies activities, practical activities in rendering service to Krishna. There's another beautiful verse by Dhruva Maharaj. Sthana bilashi tapasi stito aham. He prays to Lord Vishnu that Sthana Bilashi in Sanskrit means to attain the highest position in this world, a very high position, Sthana Bilashi. The Tapasi, he performed severe austerities to attain the highest position in this world. Tvam praptavan deva munindra guyam. But then, since he had the darshan of the Lord, who is not attainable even by it is described here as a deva, by the demigods, muni, by the sages, or by the kings. In other words, Guyam, he's hidden, far, far away, very difficult to attain. And then he further prays, Kacham Vichinvan. This Kacha means like a piece, broken piece of glass. Kacham Vichinvan api dibyaratnam. But Dhruva Maharaj, he didn't know that he was looking for broken pieces of glass, but the Lord, he's like the most precious spiritual gem. Divya Ratnam. The Ratna means gem. Most precious gem. Transcendental gem. And Svamin Kitadosmi Varam Nayache. Varam Nayache. Now he has no, because the Lord, he offered so many benedictions to Dhruva Maharaj. But he refused. Why shall I continue looking for all these broken pieces of glass? That you are the most precious spiritual gem. He refused all these benedictions. That's the loving exchange between the devotee and Krishna. Krishna always wants to benefit the devotee, but the devotee refuses, no, 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 I don't need anything. I'm fully happy, satisfied in your service. No, something you can ask for anything. I'm the Supreme Lord. I can give you an entire universe. No, 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 thank you. The Lord wants to give, but the devotee, no, 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 I don't want anything. That's the transcendental competition between the devotee and the Lord. The devotee wants to give, but Krishna also wants to give. That's the loving exchange. And that, unfortunately, is entirely misunderstood by the materialistic atheists. Like we have the example of so many devotees like Kulavecha Shrida or Ishana, the eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya. He had so many holes in his cottage, the roof, just a straw, a straw hut, simple roof and so many holes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was wondering why I can arrange, someone can fix the roof, what's the problem? He said, no, no, no. He gave the example of birds. So all the birds are sitting and they don't have any roof. Where should I have a roof? So renounced, so detached. And Kulavecha Shrida also, we know all the story, beautiful story. So the atheists, they misunderstand. They think that the devotees, they practice self-denial. They deprive themselves of the basic necessities of human existence. They think like this. But the fact is, the devotees don't need anything material for their sanskritification. There's no need. And that is practical experience. As long as we are fully engaged in Krishna's service, Krishna arranges even more than we desire sometimes. Krishna is so kind. Like this is one story I want to end here, of the peacock and the water crane, that bird with the long legs and very long neck. It doesn't look very beautiful. gray feathers. And then one day, in the barnyard, the peacock spoke to the crane. Let's just look at you. You look so ugly. Gray feathers, this long neck, your legs are too tall. Just look at me. And we know peacocks, they look very, very beautiful. And then the peacock, he made his tail. And so that you see the beautiful colors of the feathers and the sunshine, they vibrate the tail and then also turn it around, that you really can see how beautiful the feathers are, the colors. And also the dark blue neck of a peacock is so beautiful. And then this is why they move their necks, that you can see it. So just look at me, and what beautiful colors I have in comparison to you. And yes, the crane felt a little bit embarrassed, lowered his head, that's true. I don't have such beautiful feathers. But then all of a sudden, to the surprise of the peacock, the crane just took off the ground, flew into the sky toward the sun. And then the crane challenged the peacock, "You can do that?" And then the peacock had to lower his head and felt very embarrassed because he had to remain on the ground with the pigs in the barnyard. And the crane just flew off. So that's the materialists, they're wondering, why you don't have any, you devotees, you don't have anything. You live in such a simple flat somewhere or some small self-constructed house made of mud. You don't have any swimming pool, no fancy cars. What is wrong with you? So yes, we have to admit that we don't have all these fancy things the sense enjoyers have. Of course, we can engage everything in Krishna's service, but a devotee, his life is very simple, that's a fact. He's living very simple. But the devotees are gradually moving toward the sun, Krishna Surya's arm. They're returning slowly home back to Godhead. And that the materialists cannot do. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Savitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadamahyam Dadati Svaparantikam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vatsali Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. On this subject of flying back home, back to Godhead, to the Lord, this is our all aspiration. Therefore, we all come together to see the Lord, to see Lord Nrsingadev, to chant together the Lord's names, to celebrate, to see the sweet Lord. Today, Lord Nrsingadev looks especially sweet. He is especially sweet. He is covered with sandesh. Sandesh Vastra. reminding us that the Lord is indeed ever so sweet. Lord Nrsingadev, as he is here in Singhachalam in this form, is very sweet. He is very peaceful. He is, in a sense, in the opposite mood from Nrsingadev in Mayapur. In Mayapur, the Lord appears, Nrsingadev, as Sthala Nrsinga. He is the form of Nrsingadev who is absolutely the embodiment of rage, divine rage. He is just appearing from the pillar. He has 6 or 8 arms in that form. And the ones in front are like this, and he is saying, "Where is that rascal?" But here Nrsingadev he has Prahlad on his lap, he's smiling. He is very satisfied that Prahlad Maharaj has been so devotedly expecting him, anticipating his appearance. On this day, on Nrsimha Chaturdasi day, some few hundred years ago, in Vrindavan, Gopal Bhatta Goswami was celebrating together with many devotees, and as part of their celebration, he performed an abhisheka of Nrsingadev in the form of Shalagram Shila, Narayana, whom he worshipped on that day as Nrsingadev. And as he was worshipping Nrsingadev on Nrsimha Chaturdasi, he was meditating on Prahlad Maharaj and how much devotion Prahlad had for the Lord. So much devotion that the Lord appeared before him in this glorious, sweet form. He was meditating on the glory of Prahlad Maharaj's pure devotion, and at the same time he was thinking, Prahlad is such a great devotee, I am such a small devotee. The Lord does not appear for me. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was worshipping Shalagram Shila. He had been requested by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to the Kaligandaki River in present-day Nepal, and there to receive out of the Kaligandaki River Shalagram Shila, the Lord Narayana in the form of Shalagram. And he did this, and then he came back to Vrindavan, and he was worshipping the Lord in his Shalagram Shila form. And meanwhile, Rupa Goswami was worshipping his form of the Lord, Govindadev. This deity, Govindadev, is presently in the city of Jaipur. There's a long history of how that happened. And Sanatana Goswami was also worshipping his deity of Madan Mohan, who is now in a place called Karoli, one small town in Rajasthan. But Gopal Bhatta Goswami had only Shalagram Shila. Well, only Shalagram Shila. It is Sakshat Narayan. He is Sakshat Narayan. So what's the problem? he was feeling some incompleteness. He wanted to worship the Lord in his form, which can be seen, can be dressed. You can't do much in the way of dressing Shalagram Shila. You can sort of maybe make a little crown, and that's about it. But not so much. So on Nrsimha Chaturdasi day, Gopal Bhatta was meditating on Prahlad Maharaj and his greatness, how the Lord appears personally to protect him. And with this thought, he went to take rest that evening, thinking himself so unqualified that the Lord does not appear to him. Next morning, he got up, he took bath, he came to the place where he keeps his Shalagram Shila in a basket, and he notices that this basket, some sort of straw basket, the lid is sort of off. It's not covering, and he wonders about this. Oh, maybe some snake has come, or what? So he was a little careful, but he lifted off the cover of the basket, and he looked inside, and instead of the Shalagram Shila being there, was Radharama. Yes. Shri Shri Radharama Anji Ki. So today is the day of the appearance of Radharama, the deity of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and this day is very much celebrated in the Radharaman temple in Vrindavan. So I just thought to mention that this day today is this special occasion. And what we can reflect on from this is the devotion which Gopal Bhatta Goswami has in his remembrance of Prahlad Maharaj, in his devotion to the Lord. So we have, what do we have? We have, there's the Lord's devotee, in this case Prahlad Maharaj, and there is the devotee who is remembering the devotee. And remembering the devotee, he is remembering the devotion of the devotee. And in this way, the Lord reciprocates with the devotee of the devotee by appearing himself to him. So this is a nice lesson for us. We want to remember the Lord, and we also want to remember the devotees of the Lord. And by remembering the devotees of the Lord, we are blessed. I remember years ago, in Mayapur, one devotee was making a nice point that because in Mayapur there will be so many devotees and it may be difficult to have darshan of Nrsimhadev during the morning darshan because it's kind of a narrow opening, and so devotees will line up, and unless you're there early to get a place near the front, then you're out of luck. You're just in the back, and you can hear them, the devotees singing, and that's about it. Actually, that's changed. Now there are video screens, so you can see. But this devotee made a nice point. He said, actually, no, you're not out of luck. You're very much in luck. Why? Because you're seeing the devotees of the Lord who are having darshan of the Lord. So having darshan of the devotees who are having darshan of the Lord. Perfect. Today is also the appearance of Madhavendra Puri. Shri Madhavendra Puri ki jai. I was fortunate some months ago in January I was on a yatra with about 40-45 devotees. From Puri we made a journey sort of following the the way except in the opposite direction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he almost immediately after that left from Katwa, from Shantipur to Jagannath Puri on the order of his mother, Mother Sachi Devi, on the request of her. And he stopped in several places along the way, and one of the places that he stopped, is a place called Raimuna. And Raimuna is very famous as the place of the deity Kshirachora Gopinath. And Kshirachora Gopinath is known as Kshirachora Gopinath because he is the Chora, the thief of Kshira, of a certain milk preparation, which was regularly being offered to the Lord. And Madhavendra Puri visited the deity Gopinath, who is not yet known as Kshirachora Gopinath, and he was sitting in the temple, and he was waiting while this offering was being made of Kshira. And while the offering was being made, he thought to himself, one generally thinks to oneself, he was thinking that after the offering is over, and when they are distributing, no doubt there will be some remnants of the prasad. And I would like to taste some of that remnant, because then I can have knowledge of what the taste is, and then I can learn how to prepare that same preparation for my deity, Govardhan Nath, Gopal. Madhavendra Puri was on a mission. He was on his way to Puri on the order of his deity, Govardhan Nath, who is now not at Govardhan. He is at a town called Natadwar, also in Rajasthan. That's another story. And he was on his way to obtain sandalwood for offering to his deity. So on the way, he's in Raimuna, he has darshan of Gopinath, and he thinks, oh, it would be nice to offer what they are offering to my Lord, this Kshira. The moment he thought this, he felt very bad. He said to himself, this is terrible. What kind of devotee am I? Here I am, anticipating enjoying something of the Lord which the Lord has not completed enjoying. He felt very bad. This is a most exalted Madhavendra Puri, and he is feeling so bad because he's anticipating, you know, we do this all the time, isn't it? Think, this nice offering, the Lord's going to have it, then we will have prasadam. So when Madhavendra Puri thought this, he thought, this is not right. And he immediately left the temple and he went to the marketplace. You all know this story, I'm sure, but it's nice to remember this mood of Madhavendra Puri as he's feeling bad at his own impurity, although he's actually the most exalted devotee. We sometimes take for granted so many thoughts that come into our mind. We say, yeah, that's, you know, what do you expect? I'm a conditioned soul, what to do? And we think this is normal. But Madhavendra Puri was not thinking that. He was thinking this is not normal, or if it is normal, it shouldn't I should not be thinking normal. And so he went away, and I don't deserve to have darshan of the Lord. What to speak of tasting this kheera? So, well, we know what happened. Gopinath becomes Kheera Chora Gopinath because after the offering has been made, he has secreted away one of the pots of kheera behind the curtain so that the pujari, who was maybe not so carefully counting, I believe it was 12 pots that they would offer each time, so he didn't count, oh wait, one is missing. He didn't notice. He took away the offering, and then that night the Lord came to him in a dream and said, get up, there is one more pot, I have kept it for my devotee, his name is Madhavendra Puri, you go and you find him, which he does. And when he finds Madhavendra, he gives him this pot, it's of kheera, it's for you, it's been saved by the Lord for you, it's been stolen by the Lord. Madhavendra was astonished, and he could understand the Lord is very kind to him. And so he tasted that kheer, and I must say, it is worth a journey to Remuna just to taste that kheer. It is really, really, really special. It's, yeah, there's undescribable. It's such a creaminess. In India, generally, milk sweets and whatever, they're not very creamy. They're just kind of lots of sugar. And, you know, it's sort of white with lots of crystally sugar, but this kheer is very, very nice. Shri Madhavendra Puri ki. There's a connection, by the way, between Radharaman Temple and Kheera Chora Gopinath Temple, and that is the kheera, because in Radharaman Temple they also offer this kheera. And they say, this is the same kheera. Well, okay. So Radharaman has appeared because of meditating on Nrsingadev, in a sense. We can make that connection. And then we have Madhavendra Puri and that connection. And then today is one more appearance date, and that is Srinivasa Acharya. Our time is short, but I will just mention Srinivasa Acharya ki jai. Srinivasa Acharya is not to be confused with Srivasa Thakur. Srinivasa Thakur is a devotee from the next generation, and Srinivasa Acharya is a disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So there we have another connection. It's all one big family of Vaishnavas, of devotees, and we are all parts of this wonderful family of Vaishnavas, followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srinivasa Acharya is particularly known for the time when he, together with Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda Prabhu, were on their way to Bengal with a treasure. And the treasure consisted of the books of the Goswamis. The 6 Goswamis had been writing by hand over so many years, decades, these scriptures which we now are benefited from in so many ways. The writings of Rupa Goswami, of Jiva Goswami, and the others. And copies of these manuscripts were made in Vrindavan, and then they were all put together and sent with these 3 devotees to Bengal for the benefit of the Bengal devotees. In this time, this is 16th century, later 16th century, there were no, computers and scanning machines and PDF files and all that. There weren't even printing press. There was only handwritten. So all of these books, they're in a big chest on a cart, and with, I believe, 10 soldiers, 10 guards. They made their way. When they came to a place in southwestern, what's now West Bengal, the news kind of got out that there are these sadhus with a treasure, and the local king, Rajveer Humbir, a sort of small-scale king, and something of a dacoit king, it seems, told some of his dacoit friends, "Get that treasure. I want that treasure." So they came in the night, everyone is asleep, and they managed to remove that treasure. And when they get up in the morning, it's all gone. Everyone is devastated. We've come all this way after years of writing and copying, whatever, everything gone, everything finished, it's all finished, what do we do now? Srinivasacharya said, "I'm staying here. I'm going to find those books. They can't be that far away." And so over the next days, weeks, he sort of hung around in the local area. He listened, he talked to people, and eventually meets one Brahmin who takes him to the king's court. And in the king's court, while he's there, someone is reciting from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. And what Srinivasacharya hears this Pandit saying outrages Srinivasacharya, and he can't take it anymore. The way this man is misrepresenting Krishna's transcendental pastimes. He stands up and he says, "This is nonsense. This is not how to understand Bhagavatam." And he begins to preach. And the king is curious, who is this guy? And he wants to hear. And then everyone wants to hear. And then the Pandit wants to hear. Everybody becomes fascinated. Well, long story short, eventually it becomes revealed that indeed the treasure is with this king, and the king gives him the treasure, and he also gives himself to Srinivasacharya. He says, "I am your disciple, please, I take shelter of you." And King Rajveer Humbir became a very enthusiastic Vaishnava. He had temples built in his district, in his land. Some of these temples are there, you can visit. This was part of our journey that we made some months ago. We went to Vishnupur, and you can see these temples today. These are Radha Krishna temples. And he promoted throughout his kingdom the worship of specifically Radha Krishna. And so there are many Vaishnavas in this area. It was wonderful. We did a program at one of these temples. Many people came from the town. Very sweet experience. So on this day of so many appearances, we can celebrate the good fortune that we have to be among all of the Vaishnavas in the presence of the Lord who descends. He makes himself accessible in this most accessible way. And in this way we can be sure, we can be confident that we are on our way back home, back to Godhead, like the crane, flying ever so gracefully back toward the sun, so we can very gracefully and graciously return back home, back to Godhead. Srinivasa Acharya ki jai, Madhavendra Puri ki jai, Shri Radha Raman Lal ki jai, Ananta Goti Vaishnavinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.